Defensive lineman Rashard Lawrence, thank you so much for joining me. I mean, we are only days away from the NFL draft, and we're having to coordinate this in between you taking calls from NFL teams. So I appreciate you clicking over to do this interview.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you and appreciate your time.
So, how has your training been going, especially now with this quarantine, everything shut down? So, I know your plans changed in an instant from what you thought you would be doing right now.
It's a lot different. It's really different actually. The other day, a couple weeks ago, I walked outside for the first time and people were keeping 6 feet, and I noticed. I was like, man, this is real. But for me personally, I just try to work with my position coach. He has a neighborhood with an open park. And right now, that's all we can really use. We're not doing any hand fighting or hand combat things. It's more just working on feet, working on conditioning, and just trying to stay active because this is a tough time and it's different, but we're just trying to get through it.
You were lucky enough to have a head coach as a defensive line guru in Coach O. So, how much did you learn about becoming an elite defensive lineman from Coach O and from the staff during your time in Baton Rouge?
It's been great having Coach O. As pretty much he's in the defensive line room every day. After team meeting, we go to individual meetings, and he's right there with the defensive line. So to have him and to have Coach Johnson, both Coach Johnsons, Coach Jenkins. I've had a lot of great defensive line coaches through the years at LSU. So to get all that experience and being able to soak it in, it's going to really be beneficial for me going forward at the next level.
I remember your first college sack, and it coming against Heisman winner and future NFL quarterback Lamar Jackson when we were in the bowl game. So are there one or two plays that stick out to you when you think back about your career and big-time moments at LSU?
Yeah, I mean, I think about the UCF game in the Fiesta Bowl, and I think that game really highlighted the season going forward until the national championship year. We had Joe coming in, transfer, myself, and a lot of different guys decided to come back, and we finished the deal. So I think about my two or three sack game against UCF and the national championship, the first drive, actually, I got a big TFL, and I was just like, wow, I'm in the national championship, So those are a couple of the plays that just come off the top of my head. Wow, I've had so many.
You put so much on film during your time at LSU, so a ton of stuff for NFL scouts and everybody to see. But knowing you and knowing you from your journey from high school, I mean, you are the all-around student athlete. So what are some of the things that the film doesn't tell the NFL about Rashard Lawrence?
I think that he's the full package on and off the field, not only as a football player, but as a young man, an upcoming, adult that's about to go into the real world that handles himself with a lot of composure. I think that being able to get my degree from LSU was a big deal to me. I think that obviously you want to win a championship, you want to be a high draft pick and all those great things, but to get your degree and to be a great person off the field is just as important. So people that just see the film, he's a guy that's 100% guy in everything he does, loves the game, loves talking football, being around football, but more importantly is a great man.
As you talk with NFL teams, whether you're at the combine or phone calls and these video calls that you're having to do now, what's the feedback you've gotten from them as you've gone through this process?
First, just asking how the quarantine's going. That's been the number one question through all the FaceTime interviews and everything. But as far as ball, asking if I'm healthy, if training camp was to start, next week, would I be ready to go? And really just talking ball. A lot of coaches right now are at their private houses, and it's kind of cool to be able to talk to so many different NFL coaches about football like they're almost your coach now. And I mean, we were talking through schemes and everything because people have so much free time on their hands. So it's pretty cool and interesting to just talk to so many different personnel in the NFL. It's pretty neat.
Is that kind of a surreal experience when you're talking to these coaches and these guys that you either grown up watching or you see them on Sundays while you're in college, and then now you're talking to them, you might be playing for them?
I know it really is. I think that going to LSU, you're around pros so much that you kind of get used to it. You think about the Devin Whites, the Tre'Davious Whites, and all the great players that have came through there through the year. You're always around pros. You treat yourself as a pro, but it's still pretty interesting when you see, some of the GMs and some of the head coaches, scouting you, looking at you, and it's pretty interesting.
As you go through this process, how much have you seen either it being Coach Moffitt's influence in the weight room or the practices that you go through going up against an LSU offense during your career, how all of those things at LSU have prepared you to be confident to take that next step and say, I'm ready for the NFL?
I look at practicing every day against Joe Brady and his offense and kind of going against Joe Burrow and Coach Brady's he's with, the Panthers, and then you have Joe about to be a Bengal. And then you look up front and you have Sadiq Charles, Adrian McGee, Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be a high pick, Damian Lewis. You got all these guys that you see every day in practice, scheming against them, trying to find out different things, what their weaknesses are. So LSU definitely prepares you in a way that's second to none. I think that you're treated as a pro the day you walk in as a freshman and you leave as, a veteran and a guy that's going to be ready for that next level. No matter where you go or what states you end up in or what team, you'll be ready because LSU prepares you day in and day out.
You pretty much experienced it all as a student athlete at LSU. You were a 5-star in high school. I mean, you had offers from all over the country. You decided to stay in the home state of Louisiana, stay home, play for LSU. You graduate. You become a national champion on one of the best teams in college football history. What has this journey meant to you now that you can look back and reflect on all of the things you accomplished while you were at LSU?
This journey has been unbelievable. I mean, I look at, my first sack against Lamar Jackson and then being able to host up the national championship trophy and all in between. It's been unbelievable. I think about, how we lost to Troy one year and, we were kind of rock bottom as a program, it felt like, but we just kept finding a way every day to get better. And credit to Coach O for hiring great coaches and bringing in the best players and the best staff in America. I think that he's the head of it, but it takes great players to do that. And we've been lucky to have a Joe Burrow. We've been lucky to have a guy like Lloyd that, was underrated coming in and now is one of the best offensive linemen in the country. So it's so many pieces that go into being a champion and having, a 4-year journey. But it's all worth it. Some good, not so good, in between and everything. But it's pretty cool to look back on it and say, wow, it was all worth it.
It's funny that you brought up that Troy loss because when I was talking with Blake Ferguson last week, that was one of the things he brought up. And he said, this team rallied around after that game, and then we become one of the best in college football history.
Right. I mean, it was a tough time. But we had great guys. And I look at some of the guys on that team that helped weather that storm that deserve to be champions and in my heart champions because they deserve it just as much as we do for being the guys that, stepped up and through the hard times and helped lead and help, turn this program into what it is now. So it's very cool to look back on that.
Well, I've seen all of your hard work and all of the LSU community has seen your hard work that you put in while you were a Tiger. So I know this is a hard question to answer, but what do you think the emotions are going to feel like when you get that call and you know that you've made it to the NFL?
I don't know. I'm preparing for everything. I've got emotions thinking maybe I'm going to cry, maybe I'm going to be ecstatic jumping around. I don't know what's going to hit me, but when it does, I'll know that it's been worth it and that I'll be a part of NFL LSU. So that'll be really cool. And, the next step for me is just to work hard and prove to that team that I belong and try to get a Lombardi trophy.
Well, you are part of a very impressive LSU draft class, probably the best one we've ever seen here at LSU. So when you think of your teammates that are going through this alongside you, do you have any good luck or any messages to the other guys?
I'll just tell them, keep being y'all. We did something that many people just dream about, and I think we were probably the best to ever do it. So let's continue at the next level. Let's represent and show why we were the best team in college football history.
What are you going to miss most about being a Tiger?
Wow. I'm going to say the home games, the Saturday nights. I think that for people that haven't been there and experienced the Alabama game at night, a Florida game at night, it's special. I think that, you know, when you come out and you hear those 102,000, you know, cheering for you and screaming and just intimidating the other team, you can't help but just think about how, you know, Tiger Stadium is just special and how, you know, where it is where opponents' dreams come to die. So Saturday nights in Tiger Stadium, unbelievable.
And those fans, what about the fans? How do you even
The
describe
fans,
it? Or say thank you?
man, I mean, from the time that you get the Tiger Walk and you're going through and you're walking down Tiger Walk, you just feel their energy. You feel just that home field advantage. Even when we go on the road, I mean, the fans are just unbelievable, man. I mean, it's really, truly unbelievable how they represent week in and week out wherever we are. I think that's special, and they deserve this championship, and they deserve more that are coming for this program.
Rashard, thank you so much for taking your time. I'm getting so nostalgic as I'm doing all these interviews with everybody and remembering official visits and champions, and then now y'all are going to the NFL. And thank you for everything you've done for the football program. I know this will not be our last interview because you better be coming back and seeing us for some games on your NFL bye weeks.
Thank you so much, Emily. I appreciate it.